Don't chase happiness. Happiness is like the elusive butterfly that is always just outside of your reach. You think you're going to grab hold of it, you run after it, you chase after it. However, when you get there, you don't feel any happier. What you want to do instead is you want to cultivate a life of thriving. Yeah, we all want to achieve our goals, we all want to achieve our dreams, and those are absolutely important. But what we need to do in order to get there is actually cultivate a life where those things are possible. We think that if we achieve X or if we get to Y, then finally we'll be happy. Except it doesn't work that way, because when you get there, you still feel a bit unhappy. There's always another mountain to climb, another hill to take. So it's faulty thinking just by getting to one thing, the next thing, that you're going to find happiness. Thriving is multifaceted. It's not just in one area of life, but it's about taking control of a few key areas of your life so that your whole life feels like it's thriving. And then you can get a sense of happiness and joy and fulfillment out of that. But let me explain. If you get locked into getting happiness out of one area of your life or two areas of your life, and you go all in on those areas, you often find that you're still missing something once you get there. You feel like you've left something behind, or a part of you's behind. You finally got the goal, but that wasn't what you were truly after, was it? You discover that there is a serious emptiness on the inside of you when you get there. The reason is that we are not one-dimensional beings. It's not like there's one side to us, the career side, the business side, the leadership side, the money-making side. There are so many other parts of our lives that are so important. And so it's multifaceted. There's different areas that we need to cover. And the way that I like to think about it is this. Think of a bicycle wheel. It's round and it's got all those spokes. And those spokes give the wheel its structure, they give it its support, it gives it its strength. It keeps its shape. And when it keeps its shape, it actually moves forward and it builds momentum. But if one of those spokes were to break, it would then, the rest of the spokes would carry the load and would carry extra pressure. But because of the pressure now being applied to other spokes, the pressure actually makes them weaker. And so those spokes, if another one breaks or another one breaks, eventually what begins to happen is that the wheel is not strong anymore. It doesn't have the same support, and it can easily get damaged, bent out of shape, or break down. Does that sound familiar? This is exactly what happens to our lives when we just give focus to one or two areas. We neglect other areas of our life, and they begin to get damaged and break. And over time, our life loses shape, and we can even get to a place of breakdown and burnout ourselves, because two of those spokes in our lives are strong, but the others, the rest, are actually weak and breaking. I discovered this for myself. So I'm not talking at you. I'm actually this is a life lesson that I've learned. That I was going through a period of time where I actually neglected my health for a long time. I did work, I had lots of things going on at the time, and there was a lot of stress in my life, and the work pressure ramped up. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't getting the rest that I needed. I neglected my physical health. I started stress eating. My wife tells me later on, I would just go through bags of sweets, and they were tasty, but never really felt that good after them anyway. And so my physical health suffered, and it wasn't sleeping, wasn't getting the rest and the recovery I needed, wasn't getting good nutrition. And actually what started to affect was my mental health started to get a bit affected, and the pressure started getting so heavy and so strong. And actually, eventually what I had to do was I had to make some changes. But thankfully, because other key areas of my life were really strong, my relationship with my kid, with my wife, with the Lord, even with my work and friends, there were other areas of my life that were really strong, gave me the support I needed, and I made the changes that I needed to make. I actually put changes into my calendar, ate better, exercised more regularly, attempted to get more sleep, to get the rest that I needed. I managed to avoid the breakdown, managed to avoid complete burnout, and actually recovered really well from that. And so it just shows there's something to be said for applying your hand and strengthening different areas of your life so that you can actually get into a good place and a good space, not just mentally, but physically. Health can improve, and different areas of your life can thrive. Quite honestly, it could have gotten much worse, but getting stronger in some of those areas really helped me to thrive and really helped me to get through that season and actually lay a solid foundation that I could build the rest of my life on. If you don't stop ignoring or neglecting some key areas of your life, you're going to get to that point where you're going to experience being overwhelmed, stressed, feelings of an unfulfilled life, unclear and a muddy mind. All of these things are going to end up putting pressure on your career and pressure on your business. What I see other people do so often is that you push harder at work, you push harder in your business, and then what happens at home is things are under pressure. It's a relationship that you don't necessarily enjoy being in at the moment, and there's constant friction and tension at home. And so you pour more into the business, you pour more into work, and you're getting instant rewards there, or feedback or gratification there. But here's the problem. Eventually your home life is going to affect your business life, your work life. It's going to put extra pressure there, and you're not going to be able to take that pressure. You're going to try to escape that by doing some other things that are maybe not so good for you either. You've got to focus on these things. Otherwise, some people, they neglect their health. And here's the thing, a person who's healthy has got 100 goals, but a person who is sick has one goal, and that's to get healthy. So just think about that. Think about what areas it is that you can get stronger in. If you ignore your health in the short term because you've got some deadlines you need to go for, that can be completely understandable. But long term, your failing health is going to wreck you. It's going to stop you. If you're married and you ignore your relationship with your spouse, you know what? That's going to cause a really complicated life down the line. It's going to cause a place where you guys are on totally different pages, walking in different directions, and it's going to lead to a hurting and complicated life. Or think about a relationship with your kids. If you're pursuing your career, or you're pursuing like maybe even just health or other personal goals, and you're not able to spend time with your kids, do you know what that's going to do? In years down the road, much later on, when you finally got everything you wanted, you want a relationship with your kids, they're not going to have that relationship with you because they didn't know you growing up. The bottom line is, ignore this advice to the peril of your future self. So if you want to thrive and find some real success and real momentum in your life, you've got to evaluate different areas of your life. You've got to look at them and say, which ones are doing well, which ones are doing poorly, and what can I do to strengthen those areas that I can cultivate a life of thriving rather than just pursuing happiness in the 1 or 2 goals that I've set for myself. So here are some areas in your life that you should have a plan for. Your health, which is your mental health, emotional health. Also consider your physical health. How much sleep are you getting? What's your nutrition like? Are you getting your exercise? Relationships. The relationship with your spouse, if you're married, a relationship with your kids, if you've got kids, relationship with your family, relationship with friends, even work relationships. These are all relationships that we need to nurture and tend to because they have a significant impact on the wholeness of who we are. Other things that you can think about is impact. What impact are you making? Because a generous person actually attracts more generosity into their life. Our lives are a part of serving other people. And so when we do that, we actually gain so much back. What about spiritual? What about career? What about your financial margin? If you want financial peace, you need financial margin. Otherwise, you're always going to be stressed and worried. And that's not thriving. You want to find a way to earn more than you spend or spend less than you make. So be intentional about cultivating a life of thriving. It's not something that is done by accident. It's not done in a vacuum. It's done because you're intentional about it and you want to make sure that you hit those different areas. Why do you have to be intentional? Because there are so many things that are screaming for your attention. There are so many things that we forget in the pursuit of certain goals and dreams. And so just being intentional about it means that we're looking at it with the goal of strengthening in areas that we're weak in, or strengthening areas that we're ignoring, or strengthening areas that we're overlooking. And I want to give you 4 things quickly that you need to be intentional about in order to cultivate a life of thriving. The first thing is this: evaluate the different areas of your life and have a look at them and identify the ones that need strength. On a piece of paper, write those things down. Green for good, yellow or orange for it's okay, and then red, it needs work. That just gives you an evaluation. It helps you to look at different areas and you go, oh yeah, these things are going well. These things are not doing well. These things are okay. The second thing is, over the next 30 days, I want you to think about and put a plan together for what is one thing that it is that you can do to move those areas that are in the red, that you can do to move them forward. So what's one idea? What's one strategy that you can implement? Maybe for you, I need to have a date with my spouse, or maybe it is that you need to go and take your child out and spend some quality time. Maybe it is you need to go for a run once a week. I don't know what it is, but identify it so that you can put a strategy in place in the next 30 days. Don't wait till later. Put it into practice now. The third one is put it into your calendar, because when it's in your calendar, it becomes a priority. And what do? We actually do our priority. So if you put it in your calendar, you just got to look at your calendar and go, oh, this is the next thing I've done. I've planned it. And so that you don't double book it with meetings, you don't double book it with some other thing that you got planned or with friends. You've got a plan to do the thing that's important. It's actually going to move your life forward in a way of cultivating a thriving life. If your date night or time with kids is not in your calendar, you're making a serious mistake. Get it in there because it's important. Lastly is this: do this on a monthly basis. Just doing it once after this video, it's not going to help you. But if you do it every single month, like in the first week of the month, what you're going to do is you can actually create momentum, an intentional momentum in your life to make change, to make progress. Right? If you want to stay the same and live by default, the only thing that's going to happen is things are actually going to get worse. But what you're going to do by putting this plan in place is you're actually going to put energy into the areas of your life that need to be strengthened. And it's going to create a stronger support structure and keep you in shape. Yeah, it might take longer to get where you want, but when you get there, you're going to be healthier and you're going to be happier. If you do this over the course of a year, you're going to find yourself with improved health, improved energy and focus. Find that you're going to have a richer and more meaningful home life, and you yourself are going to be stronger, and you're going to have more resistance and margin against pressure when it comes your way. Don't chase happiness. Pursue a life or cultivating a thriving life, and I think happiness will chase you. See you again in the next one. Thanks for watching.